Hi everyone, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I'm excited to film this video because this is my 2019 Best of Books video. So now that I've given spotlight space to all of those books, I am going to, like I said, talk about what the best of some other books I read this year were. All of those books are in this list getting these awards. I just want to highlight some others, so I won't be going into as much detail, but you'll see. So first up, the best male protagonist, it's Geralt from the Witcher series. I have not completed it. I've read 5 out of, I believe, 8 books, and he's oddly enough, for a character that projects this untouchable, unaffected, uncaring persona. He's very nuanced. I love the humor. He's not trying, but he's funny, and his relationships with all the other characters are just great. Geralt is not exactly your stereotypical, manly man, fighter, monster hunter type, but only just, and that just makes it better, and he gets more and more emotional as the series goes on. So next up, my favorite female protagonist, the best one for me was Xiomara X from The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. One of my surprising reads for this year. I read a lot of books mostly by female authors, so I get mostly female protagonists, and this was hard, but as much as I wanted to put Alice from Let's Talk About Love in here, Xiomara definitely, I don't know, I just liked her being a little bit more badass than Alice's personality was. Nothing wrong with Alice, just different characters, basically. Xiomara is a teenager. She's a Latinx New Yorker. Maybe that's what it is. The fact that she's also Hispanic and also from New York, that pushed it over the edge for favorite for me. I don't know, but that's that. My favorite ensemble cast would have to be from the Elantris. That was one of the first books I read this year, and still some of my favorite people. The group, the core that were trying to change things in their government, and also the group in Elantris, and how everyone came together at the end, and even though they're working on two sides of a wall, literally, it just worked completely for me. Having read that made me a Brandon Sanderson fan. I think that's still my favorite Brandon Sanderson book that I've read so far. Thanks to them. Best plot twist. I don't know if this was meant to be a plot twist, but Mistborn: The Final Empire, I'm not gonna give it away because that would be a major spoiler, but I did not know, for those who have read it, about the thing with Kelsier towards the end. I didn't see that coming. How do I put this? Reading it, I thought he was the main guy, the main protagonist this whole time. Next up, we've got the best book cover, and that would be The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton. not perfectly, but as close as we can get probably to a realistic rendition of how sensual that book is. It's all about beauty, and that's a sensual thing. Like, we use our senses to decide what is beauty, mostly the eyes, but also smell, taste, feel, hearing. That's how we decide what is the best with our senses, and the cover, I think, emotes that very well. It's colorful, the girl is gorgeous, beautiful, and the flowers, the hairstyle, the dress, it's all very elaborate and a feast for the eyes, basically. Now, best male sidekick would have to go to Dandelion. For those of you watching The Witcher Netflix Season 1, that would be Jaskier, the bard who sings Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, a song that is such an earworm, it pops into my head randomly on any given day at any given time with no reason. He is hilarious. He brought the series to a step above. Oh, I like it. For me. Early on. He's like a regular guy, but also a little bit of a womanizer and an idiot, and hilarious. He's funny. And that is important to me. His relationship with Geralt the Witcher is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. No, one of. Only Geralt in Ciri beats that. Who cares about Yennefer? My favorite female sidekick, is Susanna from... She's not exactly a sidekick, but she was a secondary character in How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather. It's about basically the descendants of various people in Salem during the Salem witch trials. It takes place in a modern day Salem. It's a YA fantasy, I guess. And I just liked her character. She made the best of the situation. You know, people are dying or getting hurt. They're not sure, neither the main character Samantha or anyone else who normally lives in Salem is sure exactly what's happening. And Susanna, I thought, had a really good head on her shoulders, and she was supportive of Sam, even though they were strangers. She kept an open mind, and it might just be that this was a recent read, because I read it in December, but yeah. Look for more about that book in my December wrap-up, whenever that happens, or my next recent reads, I should say. So, next we have the best plot. That would have to go to The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I've had that on my TBR, want to read, for a couple of years now. I think someone in a group on Goodreads recommended it to me. I don't remember why. I put it there, and I went on with my life. Then, this year, in October, A Frolic Through Fiction decided to have a Bone Season series read-along, and I found out this is a series. So I read the first book. I'm still reading the second one. Wow. Like, it's different, unique, uniquely told. Like, the plot in general, bare bones, is not different from a lot of fantasy, but how it's created, the whys and wheres and hows, is super amazing. And the whole storyline is just really compelling. So, next up, best world building in my opinion goes to Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is set in a world where there are many gods, all with various powers, and regular people can become gods because they've done something in their previous lives, and at their deaths they are somehow resurrected. I don't want to give much away, and it's been a while, so I'm a little hazy on the specifics, which Brandon Sanderson is very good at doing. Just wow. Who would have thought? That's how I can describe the world building. Like, he's really good at it, and this was the best one in my opinion that I've read so far. Best new to me author is Brandon Sanderson. I may or may not have read not a majority, but a lot of his books this year, and he's, I think, the author I read the most from this year is what I'm trying to say, and there's a reason for that. I'm so grateful for Elliot Brooks for creating the read-along that she did for Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere books, and also for the Witcher series, because yeah, but I greatly enjoy Brandon Sanderson, in part for many of the books I've already mentioned: Mistborn, Warbreaker, and others. So, best book to movie or TV adaptation. Ooh, this is hard. I have to give this to Attack on Titan for the anime. I started watching the anime a couple of years ago. Season 3 came out this year, and oh my god. I started watching the anime before I was reading the manga. Obviously, the anime takes long to put together. The manga's been going for several years already. So, yeah, but this season 3 of Attack on Titan, if nothing else, the animation has gotten better, and it was already really damn good. The voice actors, they're good. They're good. And I'm talking about the Japanese voice actors, not the dubbed English version, because I like, how can they possibly beat that, especially when in Japan there's actually schools for voice actors, like here. Best graphic novel or manga. I combine these because I don't read tons of either, but I do read some, and the winner is Power Up Volume 1. Oh, that was one of my most surprising reads of 2019. You can check out that video, and it's by Kate Leth. I don't remember the artist's name. I'm still new to BookTube and not used to naming more than one author, so please bear with me on that. But it was good. It was so good. Check out my surprising reads video to find out why. Really quick, the artwork, the storyline, it was fun. I can't wait to read more. Next, best thriller or suspense novel, that would have to go to Eve by Iris Johansen. Excuse me. I didn't read a lot of thrillers or suspense this year, so I think the only other one I did was my worst book of the year, which I did not like. So I don't want to take this away from Eve by Iris Duncan, because Eve by Iris Johansen because I did enjoy that, and I've been looking forward to finally getting to the nitty gritty of what happened to Bonnie. And we got a lot of background, which I wasn't expecting, but I liked, and so do check that out. It's a backlist book, but who cares? Best romance. Let's talk about... No, you thought. It's Autobiography by Christina Lauren. Like, that was my favorite part of that book, the romance. I love Let's Talk About Love, but the best romantic connection for me this year was from Autobiography. The two boys are just absolutely lovable, and their relationship was super realistic for teenagers going through what they were going through, and I like that it wasn't a happily ever after. It was, let's try this at the end and see where it goes. And I wish them the best, as if they were real characters. And real people. So yeah. Now we'll get into genres. So, first up, best fantasy. This is personal opinion, as are all of these. I had some juggernauts in here with Andrzej Sapkowski's The Witcher series, and then several Cosmere books from Brandon Sanderson. But the best fantasy for me this year was Saga Volume 1, which is a graphic novel, but it was the most fantastical thing I read, and there was nothing bad about this book. It should have been amongst my favorites. I think what took from it is the fact that it was a graphic novel, but we've got space, we've got different species, we've got a romance between two different species that have been at war with each other, and like all of the characters, good, bad, indifferent, have interesting personalities and motivations and development, even all just within one volume, and then we get the visuals on top of that. So Saga gets it, and I'm definitely continuing next year. Best contemporary novel goes to Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, because of all the things I've already said about this book. I cannot not say anything more except I enjoyed it. And you will note, I have to say, it was difficult to choose because all 3 out of 4 favorite books this year were contemporary, standalone novels. Unexpected. The 4th one was a children's fairy tale kind of thing. So how does one decide? Favorite nonfiction has to go to Houseplants for a Healthy Home. This I read to help me with picking out other plants. I think I picked this for one of the Witchathons, either the Ostara Witchathon or the Letha Witchathon. I don't remember which, but it filled the prompt to have like a plant on the cover, and of course this is the one time I didn't have a book with a plant on the cover. But I got it for that, and then it was helping me with houseplant information that I didn't already have here at home with books I've already read. And it was, I liked the way it was written. It gave many different types of houseplants, succinct, to the point, but still like detailed somehow, information about how to care for them, how to grow them, what they can do for you as a houseplant, for your health, and it's physical, mental, and emotional health, and I really appreciated that. And there were also drawings, which is helpful as well if you're buying the plants, to know what they look like. I actually want to buy that, so we have it. I showed it to my parents, and they were like, "Yo, this is really good. It's good for a beginner who's not used to having plants and stuff as well." Best pagan and or divination book. These are the usual nonfiction books that I do read, but I wanted to give them their own time to shine. And so, that goes to Tarot Elements by Melissa Sonova. Read this along for the, what is it? The Witchy Book Club by Samantha Menzo on YouTube and Facebook, and I was finally able to participate, and this is a book that I was able to get from the library. I really liked it. The way it's written has categories for physical health, the physical, the financial, the emotional, the mental, and she created different spreads and questions for each. And then I liked how she explained how you can figure out which area of life you should work on first instead of doing all 5 spreads. There are some backup questions and backup spreads you can do, as well as the back half of the book is a short description of every card in the tarot that there is. And I was just like, I really enjoyed this book. I don't agree with everything that's in it, but it was really well done, and I would definitely use those spreads for myself in the future. Next, I have Best Classic, and that has to go to The Importance of Being Earnest, another book in my surprising reads of 2019. It's by Oscar Wilde. I listen to the audio if you can, but because just the acting really puts in that extra something into it, and it's hilarious but also really hard-hitting underneath. Oscar Wilde's thoughts on Victorian society and how ridiculous many of the rules can be. Then I think that's it for my genres. Next we'll talk about age ranges. So best YA for me was The Education of Margot Sanchez, which I talked about in my favorites of 2019. It was really hard because I think also my favorites were all YA and one children's book. So it was hard to choose, but for that age range, I think that was the best one that I read this year, in my opinion. Next, best adult was Leverage in Death by J.D. Robb, a pseudonym for Nora Roberts. This is the 47th book in the In-Death series, so I can't really go into details, but I liked this one better than 46. The case was better, and we're starting to see some new relationship evolutions happening, so I was really loving that one. Best middle grade or children's book goes to Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. I've already explained, as are my reading stats for 2019, and also whatever other bookish content. So subscribe if you want to see my previous bookish content. You can find it all in the Magical Librarian playlist. You want to be my friend on social media or on Goodreads, links all down in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.